Good Monday morning, and thank you to KC Security for sponsoring the morning show for us every day. We want to let you know that it's a little snaky out there as far as driving goes. We had a winter storm watch in effect. It's turned into a warning. Snowed pretty much.
Is that worse than a watch?
Yes. A watch
I don't know these things.
Yeah, because a watch is you're just anticipating that there's a
possibility. It's coming.
It's happening. Yeah.
More than what we have. Huh?
So we had just under 15 centimeters of snow according to Environment Canada, and we're going to get another 15.
Okay, you know what? I didn't think I'd ever say this, but I wish I were back on a toilet in Cuba.
As opposed to pooping in your driveway, trying to shovel it.
Honestly. Yes, I saw somebody make a left-hand turn. I was coming along Great Northern going straight through, up Great Northern Road, and somebody made a left-hand turn, yellow light turning red, and they went a little too quickly. If there had been anybody in the other turning lane, they came around, they went this way, they fishtailed, they came back that way, they would have schmucked the car right there. If anybody had been coming around the other way, they would have hit them too. So just give yourself your time to get to work.
You know what?
Oh, look at that picture from downtown.
That's what it looks like right now.
Yep, well, this is where we live.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And you know what? It's not cold, so there is a redeeming factor, because when you're out shoveling and stuff, the worst is. It's pretty windy, though. Like, it feels about -9 with the wind chill, which is not outrageous.
The roads are going to get slushier. That's the other thing. The more you guys drive out there, it's going to get slushier and even slicker. So just be careful.
Call
stay
in
home.
sick.
But you know why you should stay home? Because it's Cuddle Up Day. Yeah, Cuddle Up Day and Shortbread Day. So make some shortbreads and cuddle up.
Ooh.
Do you do shortbreads?
No, I looked at a recipe, but I didn't get to it.
Easiest recipe in the world.
Really?
Yeah, it was one
my son loves shortbread.
It's just like flour and butter and sugar and eggs and what's that other stuff? Cornstarch?
Yes.
It's so
really
simple. Yeah, it was my mother's. I don't know where she got it from. You know where she got it from? I think that what's that really old book that everybody
Company's Coming.
No, Betty Crocker maybe? No, Good Housekeeping.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, bake some shortbreads, cuddle up, and then later on in the day, eat some beans, because it's also Bean Day, which I guess it means it's also Air Freshener Day.
Apparently, tomorrow.
Yes.
Can you put chocolate chips in your shortbread?
I would never.
Why?
Of course you can, but I would never.
Why?
I don't agree with it.
Why don't you agree with it?
Because that's not what shortbreads are. That's a shortbread chocolate cup.
You're a traditionalist.
Not really. Do you also see? I also like my shortbreads chewy.
Oh, see, I never had. See, I don't eat them all the time.
I'm telling you,
I don't like the hard.
Okay. Once again, I'll promise you that I won't come through on making you shortbreads. No, I make a really good shortbread, and they're chewy.
See, I like
this recipe of my mother's. I'm telling you, it's excellent.
Well, I think you need to bring it in so that you can photocopy it.
I've got so many things to talk about. I don't even know where to start.
Okay, Golden Globes.
Okay, let's start there.
Okay.
I watched the whole thing, all 3 hours.
I was in bed by 9:30. And that's unusual on a Sunday night, because I sleep like 10 hours every night on the weekend.
Yeah.
So usually Sunday night I kind of toss and turn a little bit, but I was out like a light. Boom, done.
There were some great moments. I thought Ricky Gervais was quite funny in his opening monologue.
A lot of people were doing this.
Yeah, no, it was a lot. There was a lot of cringe-worthy stuff. Well, when you're making jokes about things like Epstein, who killed himself and who didn't kill himself in prison,
apparently,
and Prince Andrew.
Oh,
well, he was talking about Leonardo DiCaprio. He said the movie that they were in, which is Brad Pitt won it too.
Yes.
He said it was so long.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Is that the one that he said was so long? He said it was so long that by the time the premiere was over, Leonardo DiCaprio's date was too old for him to go out with her anymore.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
Imagine.
And then he said, Leo, come on, you're almost 50 years old. Even Prince Andrew wouldn't date. You know what I'm saying? Like, he went there.
Singing. Yeah, and then after his monologue, or during his monologue, they of course go to the audience and stuff. And at one point, Tom Hanks was just like yeah.
Tom Hanks.
I can appreciate the humor of it, and throughout the whole thing, Ricky Gervais kept saying, "It's my last year."
I don't care. He says it all the time, though.
Yeah.
And then the president of the Hollywood Foreign Press said, "Ricky Gervais, you keep saying it's your last year. Can we get that in writing?" Another favorite of mine was Ricky Gervais said, some people took limos, some people rented cars. He said, I rented a car, and funny story, the license plate on my rental car was made by Felicity Huffman.
Banapa.
Yeah. Anyway, Tom Hanks. You know, I don't know. I kind of thought that I've watched a lot of Tom Hanks movies, and I underrate him. I think.
A lot of people do.
I underappreciate him, and when I saw the body of work because he won the Cecil B. DeMille Award for Lifetime Achievement in Film,
okay.
Well deserved. When you look at what he's done in his career, it's quite remarkable.
He's not pigeonholed, right?
Thing. And I sold him short, and I always said, I'm not crazy about Tom Hanks. I changed my mind.
You know what? I will watch anything Tom Hanks
And when he gave his speech and saw his family and broke down and needed a moment.
Oh, no. Really?
I had a lot of tissues last night. I had tissues for when Ellen DeGeneres won the Carol Burnett Award for television comedy, and she was introduced by Kate McKinnon from Saturday Night Live, and Kate talked about watching Ellen in her sitcom, because you know when Ellen came out in her sitcom, she lost the show.
She lost everything. Mm-hmm. She didn't work for 2 years after she came out.
After she came out on that show, and so it's been quite a journey for Ellen, and Ellen's speech was hysterical. Yes. But Kate's introduction was talking about being in her basement lifting weights and watching Ellen and thinking, I wonder if I'm gay. And Kate McKinnon is gay, and she said, and I am, and I was, and I still am. And it was just a beautiful moment talking about how she always kind of felt alien. Kate McKinnon felt like an alien, and she wanted to perform, but she thought nobody would ever hire an LGBTQ plus person in mainstream media. And then, so Ellen sort of paved the way, and she said, thanks, Ellen, because otherwise I think I'd still feel like an alien. Wow. And, you know, I got to tell you, I can relate to that, because growing up in the 70s, as not even being sure of what my sexuality was, the only thing on television that had a gay character was Three's Company, and Jack Tripper wasn't even gay.
No, and he made, in my opinion, it look.
He was there for a punchline.
Yeah, and tripping over stuff like.
He made it a punchline, and then they had that Mr. Roper downstairs, and it was all homophobic jokes and stereotypical things, which shamed me even more for the way that I felt. Well, sure. So I could totally relate to what Kate said, and I mean, so that was very touching for me too. I mean,
she was very emotional about it too. You could tell in her introduction of Ellen. Yeah, she was very she was very moved by it, and imagine getting the Carol Burnett Award with Carol Burnett in the audience.
Not just in the audience, sitting beside her Ellen. And her wife, Portia de Rossi.
Oh my God, really? Seriously?
Yeah.
Carol Burnett is my favorite.
Picture of the year, Lou. Was it 1917?
Best motion picture, musical comedy, best motion picture drama. 1917.
And I hadn't even heard of this movie.
Oh no?
I just saw the trailers for it.
It looks awesome.
Phenomenal. It's the story is it's First World War.
Yeah.
And there's a troop of like over 1,000 men going into an area where they're going to get massacred. And one of the army generals or whatever, his brother is in that troop, and they send somebody to try to stop them from going into this area. The cinematography looks phenomenal.
It does, absolutely. That's one of those ones you want to see in the theater, I think, or on a huge screen.
Who was the one who was the first Asian woman to win for Best Lead Actress?
One name.
One name, and it is Awkwafina for The Farewell. Great speech, funny lady.
Really?
Really a great actress, a great movie as well.
She's so young looking.
Yeah, she got up there and she said, wow, if I hit hard times, I can always sell this. Yeah.
All right then.
So no, it was a great Rocket Man. Taron Egerton won.
Oh, yeah. Did he?
Yes, he did. And Elton John and Bernie Taupin won for Best Song from a film. It's the first time they've won an award together.
No.
They've never won a Grammy together.
Stop it.
No.
Really?
This is the first time, and at 52 years.
They've never won an award together.
Never. Isn't that wild?
You know what I
wanted? The music that Elton John and Bernie Taupin created together.
Everything.
And they never...
It's just phenomenal.
So many firsts. It was very cool.
You know what? I want to just say.
Yes, what?
Elton John, my goodness. Such a huge success. He has set the standard. You know what I mean? Could you not buy a good wig? I mean, seriously, you got the money. Honey, go buy yourself a half-decent wig.
Listen, we only have a minute
my
left.
word.
I've got to do an introduction for this segment.
All right.
I'm wearing this tie. Forget-me-nots.
Yes.
January is Alzheimer's Awareness Month. 2 interviews today, both about Alzheimer's Awareness Month.
Awesome.
Yes, phenomenal. These beautiful socks. I still have my socks from last year. And they brought socks again this year. I love them. This is the new trend, mismatched socks.
Yep.
This is actually a pair. $10 available from the Alzheimer's Society.
They're
and
so
also
cute.
This beautiful local calendar. And this is AK Graphics to the all the suggestions, assistance, and hard work. Beautiful photos, local, $10 once again. All proceeds go to the Alzheimer's Society. Check out the interviews today, and Luann will have the news on Mornings with Luann and Tim.
Last year we've been celebrating our 65th anniversary, dating back to services originating in our community in 1954, which is quite some time ago. It's been a great opportunity this past year to recognize the pioneers, the stakeholders that worked tirelessly to create what we are today. I'm grateful for everything that the families 65 years ago and the people that assembled the organization have done in order for us to achieve the success that we're experiencing 65 years later.
In your home, lighting is just as important as style.
With PowerView Motorization from Hunter Douglas, you can schedule your shades to light up the room. Create privacy, or both, automatically. No hands required.
So your shades will always be in the right place at the right time in style. And it's only from Hunter Douglas.
Welcome back to Mornings with Luann and Tim. January is Alzheimer's Awareness Month. So, joining me on the show today, we've got 2 segments for you to start things off. I've got the Executive Director of the Alzheimer's Society of Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma District. It's Terry Caparosi. Welcome back.
Thanks, Tim. Good morning.
Good morning. And I have Carol Gunn with us. Carol, you're the, what is your title this year for the walk? The honorary honorary walk chairperson.
Yes.
Honorary walk chairperson.
Good for you.
No, good for us. And Carol, you're a person with lived experience.
I am. I have 2 lived experiences. One with my brother Rob, who walked with frontal temporal lobe dementia in his early 50s.
Wow, that's young.
Yes, and lived until he was 69.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And now
second?
myself.
Yourself. So you have, I've been sitting chatting with you for a while. I don't think I'd ever figure out that maybe you had any problems with memory or cognition or anything. So.
Well, I have been diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment after strokes on the brain, and the risk is a vascular dementia. But I've been living with this since 2014.
Wow.
So I think that's pretty good.
That's pretty amazing.
I'm amazed at it too.
Wow.
I'm glad.
My mother had dementia, and so we accessed the Alzheimer's Society as a family. It's immeasurable, the support they can give.
That's right.
I always say that knowledge is power, right? So important to know. So what are some of the different things you've done with the Alzheimer's Society as far as taking advantage of their services?
You know, the services, I have to think back to my brother Bob Snooks. When he was in his early 50s, we didn't know where to go because he was gambling. That was a type of dementia. Personality and behavior disorder was his problem, but no doctor would look at us. And so it was the Alzheimer's Society that helped us through those years, and then when he was 59, he was diagnosed with frontal temporal lobe dementia.
It took that long?
Yes, it did. I think things are different now.
There's more awareness?
Yes, that's right.
More research has been done too.
That's right. And so we had lots of help from the Alzheimer's Society, and he was working at the time.
No kidding.
He was working at White Pines, and we had lots of people come and help us.
Wonderful.
In particular, we had a wonderful gal from the society that went to White Pines and trained all the people that were working with Rob in the care staff. And it was delightful to see because they all understood what was going on and how much help he needed. He could still do the job, he just couldn't follow through.
Now, Terry, that is a service I had no idea that could ever happen. Tell me more about, or tell us more as an audience. It is Alzheimer's Awareness Month. What do we need to be aware of?
It's so true, Tim, and that's one of the reasons we do what we do is you hear stories like this. The support that our staff provide to people in our community is just incredible, and some of the good news stories sometimes, and when people get a diagnosis of a dementia-related disease or Alzheimer's, some people automatically go to the end stage. There's a lot more to life when you get a diagnosis, and what we're trying to do during this month is raise that awareness, break down that stigma around Alzheimer's disease, and people can actually live well with dementia, and that's why our staff do such a wonderful job at supporting the person living with the disease, but also their caregivers as well.
Now that's a big point you have there. You've raised a great point, and as a matter of fact, your caregiver, your partner, your husband, Bill is here.
Yes.
And so has Bill also attended Alzheimer's Society with you to learn about how is best to support you?
Yes, he has. He will drop in, he will call, and we have a caregiver support group meeting in Bruce Mines that he was attending for a while, and just being able to share with other people what's going on and how we can get help and how we can get through the day.
Sometimes some of the best information comes from other people who are living the same experience.
Yes.
Although it's never the same experience, is it, Terry?
It's not, and I know that we've talked about this before. When you've met one person with Alzheimer's, you've met one person with Alzheimer's. Everyone's journey is different.
Right.
Everyone's experiences are different, and that's why when people come to the organization, we treat them all as individuals.
Right.
And the other thing I think that we want to talk about is to make sure that people aren't treated differently when they have a diagnosis.
Okay.
There's a lot to live. There's a lot to life that's left, and I think our staff can certainly help them through that by providing those supports to the person living with dementia, their caregiver. One of the main things is looking at the person and not seeing the disease.
Right.
It's just so important to treat individuals with dignity and respect. And that's one of the things that, I can honestly say that I'm very proud that the staff that work at the Society do very, very well.
So name some of the other programs that you conduct at the Alzheimer's Society that people can take advantage of.
So we've got our First Link program, which is basically the first steps into the services that we provide. We'll do assessments, cognitive assessments on individuals who may have a cognitive impairment. We have our rec therapy program, which is activation and support for people living in the community, but also we bring people into the office to actually do some education and training as well.
All right.
Our Minds in Motion program has been a wonderful
That's
program.
a big one.
It's been fantastic. It really has. Since we brought that to the Sioux in 2014, it just continues to grow. When we started the program, we had 6 families that we were supporting on a weekly basis. Now we have 42 families that we're supporting.
Smokes.
And it's great because the person living with dementia and the caregiver both come to the program.
Right.
They're both getting support from people in that program. And then you're seeing that carry on on through other aspects of what we do in terms of our education, our counseling, and it's a great opportunity to learn from other people who are going through something similar.
And there's a lot to learn. I mean, I think probably, maybe I'd ask you to speak for Bill, but don't you believe that also as a caregiver, Bill had to learn how to look out for himself too? I mean, self-care is important, right?
I do remember that, and then I especially remembered when I was caregiving for my brother
Your
Bob,
brother, sure.
because I was in Bruce Mines, and every day I would drive to the Sioux to be with him, to help him, to see that he got to work, to see that this happened, and the Alzheimer's Society gave me some really good hints, like paring down in the house and just keeping it simple, because when a person has memory loss like I do and he did and your mom, you can't think things through. You can't your ideas are there, but they're sort of hanging in the air. The words are in the air.
What you just said, I distinctly remember the conversation with my mother when she said, "It's all right there, but I just can't get to it."
That's correct.
Yeah, it was like it was just right in the distance and kind of fuzzy, and it was just foreign almost. So as far as living well, activities, I mean, there's lots of activities going on as well. Socialization is a huge part of it as well. And keeping the brain firing as much as it can. Do you agree, Carol, that it's important to keep? We were fortunate enough, and not only was my mother receiving nursing home care, but we were actually brought somebody in to spend 5 hours a day with my mother, 6 days a week, because we couldn't be there. And this woman, her name is Marilyn, became like another sister to all of us, and my mother's best friend. They got along, they were funny, but she had my mother going on outings, and my mother never rode a bus in her life. She got a bus, they would go to the art gallery in the mall, and as long as she could. And when it got a little more difficult, the outings would decrease, but then the mind games were still there, and I think that's really important, don't you, the companionship?
It is very important, and also on top of all of that, we want to be busy, we want to be involved in things, but we also have to recognize some days, like yesterday when I was talking to Bea, I said, I'm having a really bad day. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't. I just wasn't doing anything. And
but you were aware of that.
Yeah, I was.
And you self-advocated.
And I have to step away and just sit down. And my husband is very good at reminding me of that as well. And so he just leaves me alone. He says, go and have a nap.
You've actually gone and advocated for people living with Alzheimer's, or for the Alzheimer's Society in Toronto at the
I had
Ontario
the privilege of going there to Queen's Park.
Amazing.
And advocating for the support that we need, the financial support that we need, and how important it is in the North.
Which is a beautiful segue. I couldn't have asked for a better segue, the financial support, because Terry, we know that the funding for Alzheimer's Society, you're only funded to what, about 75% of what you need?
So we're actually funded 55% of our operating budget. So we have to raise 45% of the operating budget to support programs and services. So we're raising a significant amount of money in our community here to continue to support the services that are offered from our staff.
55% of your budget is provided. Okay, so that's going to lead us to our second segment, which is coming up after the news on the show this morning. So Bea is going to join us. Bea is going to join us with McLean. Susan McLean. I'm so glad you remembered that. So we're going to talk about what's on your shirts. The Walk for Alzheimer's fundraising and how you can get involved and how you can help out. Lots of opportunities for volunteers, and we'll talk about that later on in the show. In the meanwhile, Carol, what a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for being here. And Bill, hi Bill, thanks for joining us today on camera. Terry, we'll see you the next time. We'll be back with more after this on Mornings with Luann and Tim.
In your home, lighting is just as important as style.
With PowerView Motorization from Hunter Douglas, you can schedule your shades to light up the room, create privacy, or both, automatically. No hands required.
So your shades will always be in the right place at the right time in style. and it's only from Hunter Douglas.
We were just talking about that Justin Bieber song that we mentioned on Friday, his new release, Yummy, Yummy, Yummy. And I found out over the weekend what it's really supposed to be about. I guess it's supposed to be about sex with his wife, Hailey Baldwin Bieber.
Yeah.
And I just was saying to Luann, that's one word I would never sort of use during, intimate time. Yummy, yummy, yummy. I wouldn't do that.
Like, does he have actually
yummy,
say
yummy,
yummy, yummy, yummy?
If someone got in bed with me and went, yummy, 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 I'd go, get out.
What are you, 4? Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Okay, so
in my tummy.
The other thing that Luann and I were talking about after the last segment was socks and how we...
The right way to do them.
Okay, apparently I do nothing... We know I can't do Ziploc bags properly, and apparently I do socks wrong too. Mm-hmm. Keith has always said, don't fold my socks over, it stretches the tops, because I do this when I pair my socks. I go, boom, and that's how I put them in my drawer, fold it over. He doesn't like that because it stretches the socks. She saw this, and she's like,
No, the right way you do socks.
This is...
Seriously. Okay.
Watch her go. Watch and learn, folks.
So
we're going to go to this camera. Look, we're going to get a close-up on you.
We're going to get a close-up.
Okay, are we? There? Okay, I'm ready.
All right, so now...
You fold them
You do them like this.
See, now right away I'm thinking, that's a bad stretch.
See, but listen, watch. And your cuff is away from the sock, so it doesn't get stretched. And then when you store them, you have to store them like this.
She lines them up in her drawer.
With this down. So they all, when you open your drawer, you can see all the colors.
It's that thin, and she stacks them. Boom, 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 boom.
I do that with my underwear too. They're all color coordinated, and they just go like that in my drawer. Jim thinks I'm out of my mind.
You're crazy. I'm gonna sock it to you.
Sock it to me, baby.
Your mic. That would be so time-consuming for me. I mean, really.
Well, when you have 3 kids, it gets a bit long.
You did that for your children growing up?
Yes.
You are
stupid.
No, you're lovely.
Well, you know what? I'm just OCD, and I just gotta have it.
Apparently.
But like open the drawer, and then you see all the colors, and everything is just perfectly neat.
You should have been a lesbian because you spend so much time in the closet. I don't really have time to cover this next thing that I wanted to talk. Okay, quickly then, let's talk about my Friday. I went to the urologist. See, because I'm at the age where the prostate issue is going up, and I've already done the whole pee-pee thing. Where I had to just and then blood.
Is that the one where you did this with your hand?
No, I told you that was wrong. That's for testicular cancer, checking for your hernias, testicular hernias. They don't do that. No, they check your flow. I don't know how they do it. Anyway, then I had to go for blood tests, and there's this thing called the PSA, which is like a marker for cancer. So I had a PSA was a little high, and then he said, go back and do your PSA again. I went back again, and then he said, in the meantime, I'm going to schedule you for this. What do they call that?
A catheter.
Well, but I don't like it. So
I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, but they don't warn you. I mean, I was really scared about this. First of all, I don't like the idea of somebody else handling my penis. So that was enough for me. That was a huge thing for me.
But you're gay.
It was a nurse.
Oh.
So anyway.
Female nurse.
So, and this says, like, honest to God, that's probably the first woman who's touched my penis since my mother.
Glad you
Okay, I
know.
only have a minute left, so listen. I get in there and they warn you, we're going to put this antiseptic on you, and it's going to be chilly. Chilly? No. They keep it in the freezer, okay? So I'm like, okay. Anyway, and that doesn't help because you're already feeling vulnerable, and then they make it look, it goes. Anyway, I'm thinking if you want to be able to get in there, you want to make it longer, use warm stuff. Anyway, then she says, we're going to put this little thing in there, we're going to freeze it so it won't be so painful when the big thing goes in. And so then she says, it might burn a little bit, this stuff that numbs you on the inside. So she inserts it, and wow. So I got my legs in the stirrup and my feet, she says, oh, there go the feet. And I go, I know it's working. And I said, what do you mean? She said, all you men are the same. Once the thing starts to work in there, your feet start to wiggle. All do the same thing. Then the doctor comes in. I was not prepared for what happened next. This thing went in, and I literally, get ready for the microphone, Michael, because this is what I did. Whoa! I was like,
Tell them what they told you.
What?
You're scaring everyone.
Oh, a nurse came walking in from outside. She said, you're scaring the other patients. And I said, good, they should be scared.
I've never had a catheter.
Then they fill your bladder with water, and you need to go pee, but there's a thing in your urethra, so you can't, and you got that feeling, but you can't go in.
You had a good time then.
Okay, so then they're like, okay, whatever, and then he was trying to get me in conversation. He said, I see you've had dental work done. I'm like, what does that mean? Because I'm lying back going, who did your teeth? I'm like, why do you ask me this question? Well, you're in my urethra. He was trying to distract me. Well, do you think I could remember Carmen Sicoli's name?
Oh, no.
He's Italian, and he's really good looking, and he trims his nose hairs, which I really appreciate, but I'm looking up his nose. These are all the things I'm saying instead of, look at my feet are still going. It was so awful.
They are. His feet are like this underneath.
But then I have to break, but you don't understand. They don't tell you that, like, when you go pee 2 hours later, it still hurts.
It still burns.
Oh.
Did you enjoy it when they pull it out?
I didn't remember that part.
Oh, see, there you go. The pulling out sometimes is worse than the going in.
And I wondered, I didn't know whether... I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, we should go.
Luann has the news next.
Yeah, believe it or not.
See you in a bit.
Recently, the Government of Ontario established a $100 million affordability fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades including installation are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
Squall watch has turned into a warning for the Sault, St. Joseph Island, Searchmont, Montreal River, Batchewana Bay, Agua, and Lake Superior Park. Environment Canada says we received just under 15 centimeters of snow yesterday, and increasing northwest winds will result in the development of lake effect flurries and snow squalls, which will persist today with another 15 centimeters possible. In addition, northwest winds gusting to 70 kilometers an hour will result in areas of blowing snow, giving very poor visibility. Visibility may be suddenly reduced at times in heavy snow. Surfaces such as highways, roads, walkways, and parking lots may become difficult to navigate due to accumulating snow. Consider postponing non-essential travel until conditions improve. Ontario's cannabis distributor says dozens of new marijuana products will be available in retail shops starting today. but supplies will be limited. The Ontario Cannabis Store unveiled 59 new items, including a variety of vapes, edibles, and a tea. The products also will be available on the OCS website on January 16th. The distributor estimates that products will be in short supply until about March as manufacturers ramp up production to meet demand. A spokesperson for Defense Minister Harjit Sajjan said Canada is closely monitoring developments after Iraq's parliament called for the expulsion of foreign troops from the country. But Sajjan's press secretary, Todd Lane, would not say whether contingency plans are actually in the works for getting Canadian military personnel out of Iraq should the situation there deteriorate further. Iraqi lawmakers approved a resolution yesterday asking the Iraqi government to end an agreement under which American and allied forces have been in the country for more than 4 years to help fight the Islamic State group. The bill is non-binding and subject to approval by the Iraqi government, but has the backing of the outgoing Prime Minister. The Canadian-led NATO training mission in Iraq has been temporarily suspended in the wake of the killing of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. The training mission, currently led by Major General Jenny Carignan, has been under Canadian command since it was launched in October 2018 at the request of the Iraqi government. A U.S. airstrike, of course, on Friday killed Soleimani and a number of top Iraqi officials at the Baghdad airport. Soleimani was the architect of Iran's proxy wars across the Mideast and was blamed for the deaths of hundreds of Americans in roadside bombings and other attacks. When it comes to potential candidates for Conservative leadership, Brian Brulotte isn't exactly an outsider. He's been involved in Conservative politics for nearly 3 decades, but around those mostly volunteer efforts, he served in the military, got an MBA, and built what would become a multi-million-dollar staffing company. Now he intends to leverage that insider-outsider status to make a bid for the federal party's leadership, starting in earnest today. Though an election date for the new Conservative leader has been set as June 27th, the race itself has yet to officially begin. But Brulotte says he is starting now because one of his greatest assets in the race is also a major challenge. He's not a career politician, and he has virtually no national profile. That video, a social media campaign, and newspaper ads all hit the public domain today. The new members he hopes to recruit to the party, in turn, he believes, will become the new voters the Conservatives need to form government. Diane Ford, the mother of Ontario Premier Doug Ford and the late Toronto Mayor Rob Ford, has died at the age of 85. The Premier's office said the Ford matriarch died in her Etobicoke home yesterday, surrounded by her family. Spokesperson Ivana Yelich said in a written statement that Ford had been diagnosed with cancer. Yelich said the family was grateful for the outpouring of support in recent weeks and thankful for the compassion Ford's caregivers showed. Diane Ford had long been in the public sphere, with her late husband Doug Sr. serving in the Ontario legislature in the 1990s, but she rose to prominence during her youngest son's turbulent years as Toronto mayor. She was a fierce defender of Rob Ford as he publicly battled addiction and substance abuse. Your urologist called? You have to go back and do it all over again.
I'd rather have it cut off. But then,
I could help with that.
No, but then Luann was talking about having a child, and I thought, seriously, what am I crying about? Man.
A catheter.
Okay, listen, recently I returned from Cuba.
Yes.
And so a lot of air travel. And you know that we were stuck in the airport for a long time. A lot of announcements coming back and forth, moving out of security back in, delays and changes. And okay, Luann, on Twitter, there's I guess he's a model actor. His name is Niall DeMarco. Are you familiar with him? He's extremely good looking. He was on Dancing with the Stars, one of the deaf performers who actually danced on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I don't know him.
So I guess there was an ad for, I forget which airline it was, talking about which seat is your favorite, in this ad. And he tweeted, it doesn't matter to me. None of them have closed captioning anyway. Which then brought up an entire Twitter feed about what it's like to be a deaf person or a person who has a hearing impairment traveling.
Wow.
Okay, so what about, I know on Sunwing, when the instructions come up, it's a video now. No.
Yes.
So you can't even if you were to lip read, there's no one doing it, and there's no closed captioning on those videos. This is secure. This is safety. This is about how to do things.
So is the girl's still there doing
No, they're not there anymore.
No,
there's a video.
Really?
And if that video doesn't have closed captioning, and even if the person is up there doing that stuff, I guess it's a demonstration, but you're not hearing about when to do these things and how to do these things.
Yeah.
So then I started wondering, do they have to have American Sign Language? Does somebody on the crew have to have American Sign Language? I don't. And then that also brought up about, what about when you're in the airport and announcements are happening?
Right.
Your flight's been delayed. You're changing gates. What?
And you don't hear it.
Isn't that, I
wonder what you would do. You'd have to be traveling with someone, right?
Well, that's not right.
No, it isn't.
So that started the whole thing. Now, Donna Kinnanen, my friend who, Yes You Can Employment Consulting, she said the accessible customer service standard requires every employee in Ontario to have training on providing accessible customer service to people with barriers to accessibility. Marlene Matlin then joined in the conversation, saying that Delta actually is probably the most progressive when it comes to considering people who are deaf or hard of hearing impaired. Something to really think about, and this is something that we need to advocate for.
Yes.
So if give it some thought and imagine what it would be like if you were traveling and you had no hearing at all.
And go to the Flyers website
and see who does it, and then maybe we could just start making it a thing, an awareness campaign. There's always surveys. It was just really eye-opening and ear-opening for me.
There's surveys always about how service was and what can we do to improve. Well, that would
just
be
maybe look at things a different way, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so that was all. I just wanted to mention that about something that I learned this weekend.
Awesome.
Okay, so now, the second part of Alzheimer's Awareness Month, and also don't forget, please, they're doing some fundraising. They need to raise 55% of their budget, or 45% of their budget. You can buy these socks for $10, or this calendar for $10, and also there's a walk coming up, and that's what's coming up right now on Mornings with Luann and Tim.
Ontario established a $100 million affordability fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades, including installation, are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
Back to part 2 of Mornings with Lou Ann and Tim with the Alzheimer's Society. Now we're going to talk about the IG Wealth Management Walk for Alzheimer's. So Susan's here, Susan McLean and Bia Fioramonte. Tell me, Susan, what is your title with the Alzheimer's Society?
I am the coordinator of volunteer services.
And Bia?
Resource Development Coordinator. So I'm organizing all of the fundraising events.
Yes.
And we've got 2 big ones this month during Awareness Month.
Okay.
We have our IG Wealth Management Walk for Alzheimer's.
So IG is a national company, IG Wealth?
Yes, actually they're a national sponsor across Canada. But all of the money that's raised, I want to be clear that it does remain local for all of our services.
No kidding?
Yes.
That's really cool.
Yeah, the only money that we send out is for research. Once a year we make a commitment to research.
Commitment to research.
But it's all for our services at our office on Trunk Road.
Wow. Did you have other sponsors there? I see some other names you might want to mention.
Actually we have 3 platinum sponsors this year.
Good for you.
Yes.
Those are not easy to come by.
Very, very pleased. Henderson Heating and Cooling.
Hey, they're right next door.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay.
And Evolution is the old Brookfield.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
they've changed their name.
Right.
And Oldies. And look at these cuties.
Look at those 2 cuties. Where are they from?
They're local twins, and they were at
Gary, with that camera there.
They were at last year's walk, so we were actually able to localize our posters this year.
Oh,
so talk about a cute picture to try and get people to come.
Wow.
So yeah, we were very pleased with that. Silver sponsors, the Shoe Fits. They've been with us since day 1 before I even was with the Alzheimer's Society.
Wow.
Sue Video and TV, Fairview Bus Lines, and Bioforest.
Thank you to all those sponsors.
To all of the sponsors. We also have bronze sponsors, but we're very grateful for everybody that participates, people that make donations, people that donate prizes to the walk.
So how does the walk work as far as fundraising goes? What do we do? What do people do who want to get involved?
Okay, we have
what levels of involvement are there?
We have a pledge form.
Okay.
And the best way of helping us with the walk is to actually get pledges with the pledge form, but we also, if you go to walkforalzheimers.ca,
yes,
you can register online, download your emails, and collect pledges online.
That is okay.
So combination
I did that for November, and I'll tell you, with all social media, it's
huge.
A great benefit.
Yeah, you can link it to your Facebook
again,
pages.
What is the website?
Walkforalzheimers.ca.
Okay.
So if you do a combination of both, because there are some people that still don't like to make donations with their credit cards.
True.
And that's understandable. But if you do a combination of both, you can really increase the funds that you raise.
Those pledge forms come in really handy if you're somebody who, for instance, works in an office where you could pass it around,
yes,
right? Or a social club, bridge club, curling,
yes,
whatever, hockey team.
Yeah.
Right?
And the advantage of doing it online as well is that you're reaching people that you don't normally see on a day-to-day basis.
True.
You may have an aunt out in BC or family in Germany or something like that. You're reaching out to these individuals that believe in what we do or making a donation because we believe in it strongly as individual participants, and you can more than double what you're raising for the Alzheimer's Society.
By using your social media online
system, yes.
Where are those registration forms available? At the office?
We have them at the office. IG Wealth Management has them at their office on Queen Street there.
Okay.
We also have them at all of our sponsors as well as the YMCA, so they're all over
they're
town.
all over the city. Just keep your eyes open for them.
And you can download a generic one off of if you register online as well.
Okay, great. So what about for the walk itself? When is it happening?
It's coming up on Sunday, January 26th.
Okay.
It's at White Pines.
Oh, in the gymnasium?
Actually, no. We have all of the activities in the cafeteria, but they walk the halls.
Oh.
So you kind of reminisce about your high school days sometimes, you know. And and we have all kinds of activities. We have face painting. We have a clown. We have brain activities.
Yes.
So there's some different activities that we're having so that the kids can stop and play that along the route. We have refreshments.
I see Good Life is going to be there. They're going to get us warmed up for the walks.
Steve's going to be there, and he warms everybody up.
That's nice.
And White Pines has been excellent over the years. Nothing's ever a problem, and they just do everything for us. We're very, very pleased to partner with them.
Excellent.
Yes.
What about volunteers? You were with the volunteers. How are they involved with the walk? Do they sitting at the station, setting things up? How does that work?
We have a great group of volunteers that have been coming out to the walk for years, and we have like registration volunteers. We have people working in the cafeteria, bringing people to the different events, and there's also different stations. Like we have a memory tree, so there's someone that's selling the forget-me-nots for the memory tree, and so it's we wouldn't be able to do the events that we do without the volunteer component, because the volunteer component is so important.
The other thing is when you're at 45% of your annual budget, you need the community to help you, and unless somebody is actually coming up to you and saying, did you know that this is what we need and this is why, and when you have that human connection, and I think that's a big part of it too. Huge. Are many of your volunteers people whose lives have been affected by dementia or Alzheimer's?
Quite a few. Myself, it started out with my mom 30 years ago. She had frontal lobe dementia, and so that started the process in our relationship as a family with the Alzheimer's Society. So we're always looking for people that have to volunteer. So Tim, you'd be just like me. You could. What
would you make me do?
Well, you could do a number of things.
Not make me. What could you ask me to do?
Well, we have a volunteer visitor program, which we have quite a large wait list for, and you would visit once a week with someone who is in the early stages or to mid stages, and we're looking for quite a few people to fill that need, and I can't imagine, you'd be so entertaining.
That would be.
We could maybe have you do a whole group at once.
Like in the first part I talked about my Marilyn, I could be like a Marilyn.
Yes.
And take people out on outings.
Can you imagine having Marilyn show up at a gentleman's house? It would just be,
amazing.
I know.
Wow.
Keep that in mind.
I will.
So we have that.
So that's to keep people company. Yes. I love that.
And with Minds and Motions, we're always looking for volunteers. You can work directly in the program as an assistant.
So that one you actually come in and you do it in the Alzheimer's office?
Yes. So we have.
You do like a training?
Yes. There's training for all our programs. Okay, for all, especially for the volunteer visitor one. It is a long process.
You need to learn how to communicate with somebody. Yeah. I did that Tipa Snow conference.
Yes.
Talking about
she's wonderful.
Learning how to communicate, and I'll never forget those lessons that she taught me were invaluable too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so you're prepared. You're halfway there.
I am.
Yeah. And so and we're going to and yes, our Minds and Motions. So then we have background volunteers in the Minds and Motion programs, because there is a refreshment aspect to it, and someone needs to get that ready and clean up afterwards. Sure. And so it's just what we would talk to you and see what you were interested in and find a place for you, and we would have a spot for everyone.
You have something else that you could use volunteers for. It's your door-to-door program. Door-to-door. It's a door-to-door campaign.
Yes, Bea wants to talk about that.
You going to take that one, Bea?
Yes, actually, this is our door-to-door kit. So if people come to your door, they will be identified by a name tag as well as the kit.
Yes.
And we have a receipt book in there that's actual, for income tax purposes. So our volunteers write an income tax receipt at the door for that donation. Now, door-to-door is a little challenging sometimes in January with the weather. Yeah. We've had volunteers coming in picking up this week, and they're thinking, I got to get out quickly because it's actually mild this week.
Right, now's a good time.
Last year was kind of a very cold cold and windy year.
But you're only asking people to go, what is it, maybe a block or two? Is that, or
yeah,
what?
and you have the entire month to do your street or a street in your neighborhood.
Okay.
Some people like to travel to another area of town and do a street that was a very lucrative street that's not covered.
You know what I like? I like to go to the streets where they have the fancy houses so I can just see inside and see how they decorate. But anyway, that's just me. So
but yeah, it is challenging to get volunteers to do door-to-door, but we have such a crew of volunteers that are dedicated that have been doing it for years.
Are you still looking for more? If
yes.
somebody sees this and says, hey, you know
Yes.
what, I could do a week and do 2 streets and no problem.
Yes.
I got snowshoes and skis in the park. I'm good to go.
Definitely.
How do they get a hold of you?
Just giving us a call, 942-2195, and asking for Susan, and we'll get you a kit going and that kind of thing.
Could somebody else just pop into the office? Is that if they
yeah.
happen to be in the Trunk Road area?
Yes.
Because you're right there, such a Trunk Road and Cap.
Cap.
I always think of it like how to get
Yeah.
to Shannon. Yeah, it's very easy to get to.
Yes.
Okay, so we got to remember this now. The walk is January the 26th.
Yes.
Okay, so those registration forms are available now, or they can go online.
Yes.
Door to door needs to happen pretty quick because if you're going to sign up, you've got a whole month, but it's already the 6th of January. I think the 6th is, Monday.
It's today.
Yeah, thank you. And then, what else? Oh, just volunteers in general. And, and don't forget, it's Alzheimer's Awareness Month, and they need your support. Okay?
Yeah, fundraising, we have to raise over $400,000 a year.
What?
Yeah. So it's a lot.
It is. But you know what? We can do it. The Sault Ste. Marie, it's an amazing city.
Oh, yes.
It is.
The community
Very
is
generous.
Always
fabulous.
come through. Don't let us down. Okay. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Bye, Susan. Bye, Bia. See you next time.
Bye, Tim.
We'll be back with Luann in just a moment.
did it. We got you through Monday. Hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Thanks to KC Security for sponsoring the show.
We will see you tomorrow morning on Mornings with Luann and Tim when I'm joined by Clean North and Crime Stoppers.
Can't wait.
I know they're always good guests.
Yeah.
All my guests are good guests.
They are.
Okay, drive safe. See you tomorrow.
Be careful. Thanks for watching.